5. Azisheke madoda. Azisheni. Ntose etsalang ko Twitter. Wait again, guys. If you know a Twitter handle by the name of user Z-Right, I'm going to place it right here. You are so toxic, mama. You are so... Yes, I'm correct. Yes, I'm correct. She's my favorite. My toxic hand. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here today, why haven't you subscribed? Please make sure to join the Ultimate Fave Gang family, and let's make our way to 200,000 subscribers. But to all my returning subscribers, welcome back to another chaotic video about friendships. I really, you know what? I've had the story time, like, not but I've had the story time and I've wanted to tell it for so long, but every time that I used to tell it, it used to make me upset because there were a lot of things that are happening, and the thing about friendships is leave them alone. Like, just go befriend your parents, your uncles. I think I don't even befriend them. Just don't befriend anybody. Just like be by yourself. You know what I mean? Yabana bandla story time sifuna a drink, a stuff one ibile. So good. Now, I had a lot of backed up story times that I didn't film, and part and parcel was because I really don't know why. Like, I just got out of the funk of filming for a little while, and I wanted to really try out the ASMR channel, of which I know that it was the first video and some people didn't like the fact that I actually spoke at the very beginning. I think it was because it was the inception of ASMR. I really do want to obviously have the soft talking sounds, but I'll actually make sure to change that caption so not to obviously mislead people into thinking that I don't talk at all when I actually do have like soft talking sounds at the beginning. But I'm not going to ramble on this video. I'm going to get straight into it because I have a few story times that I actually need to film. So I don't want to waste time. I'm filming in the evening. I've got things to do. Don't have boyfriends who miss me. Like, this is ghetto as fuck. Like, I don't think my life has ever hit rock bottom when it comes to relationships, hoes, and niggas blowing up my area code. No. Anyway, fine. Let me jump right into it. I did not want to tell the story time at the beginning because the story time used to hurt me so much. Like, I actually, ever since the story time happened, I never spoke to this girl again, and it's been a good solid 4 years, no speaking, never will speak. Even on my deathbed, if they said that there's one more kidney left and the only donor that is a match is her, let me die, nigga. Let me die. Woo! So of course it involves Drake, because when is there ever a moment in my life where I'm not being humiliated and Drake is not involved? Drake literally says, Mabati, who's gonna impress Naledi? He does this, hold my beer. Like Drake is always just so ready to make a fool out of me, but that's fine because I've let it all go. But it is what it is. Now, this happened in 2019. Yo, guys, 2019 was actually such a hectic... No, was it 2019, 2018? It was the year that I was working at a factory. Oh my gosh, guys. By the way, side note, I am loving these Lays. The American barbecue smoky whatnot flavor. Oh my god, we got ASMR up now. What year was I working for that company? For those who don't like eating sounds, I'm so sorry. I'm really hungry. I haven't had anything to eat all day, and these are so good and they right like in my line of sight. So anyway, I'm gonna go with 2018, 2019 because I worked for this company for a period of 6 months, and it was a company that was completely different to what I used to do work-wise. And to be honest, I was still in the marketing department, but I was working for a company that literally did like power management tools. You know what I mean? So it was around those times where I was really trying to jump into corporate, but I really didn't care a damn for corporate. And around that time, Drake and I were solid knee deep in a relationship, but we had kind of really like hit the pits, ghettoville, where him and we were fighting so much, and I definitely knew that he was cheating, but it was really hard to catch him out because the other instance with the person that I caught him with the money situation, it was also around the time where I got like a job, like a 9 to 5. So I think Drake literally waited for the moment that I woke up and I went to work. And as soon as Naledi went into the office, Drake was literally clocking into the office of cheater, and he was just cheating around office hours, because those were the times that I was not with him. Or at least I'm going to assume that's how it played out, because at no other point did I actively catch him. It always came down to people coming to me with the information, to people literally telling me that Drake is here and he's with this particular girl, and Drake is there and he's with this girl. There was even, I remember, oh my god, I'm never gonna forget, around popcorn room times where Vella Drake was being outed for cheating, there was this ghost account. You know what? Ghost Lady Part 2. She was like to me, dude, Drake is at Santon with this particular girl that everybody knows that he's been cheating on with you. And I'm like, okay, first of all, you're a ghost account. I don't know who you are. How do I know that you're telling the truth? You know what she did? And that time Drake had blocked me from his Instagram stories, so I wouldn't really see anything. And now this girl was posting from her Instagram stories. And how the ghost account picked up that it was her was because of the color of her nails. And she literally took screenshots for me. Then took Drake's screenshots. And then she was like, do the math. You know what? I'll never actually forget. I'm actually so grateful to the girls who actually helped me kind of, accept and get out of that relationship, because it was so hectic. Like, I took it too far. But anyway, back to the story, because I'm rambling on another story time that I should have told, but I didn't want to tell it because me and that girl, we cool. Like, we good. And I think she was one of the only girls who actually made amends with me, like apologized, and it was a very emotional moment. So once we are good, I'm not going to do a story time about you because it's grand. I'm working for this power management firm. Me and Drake are going through so much, like things are so bad. I think it was 2019 where I knew he was cheating, but I hadn't caught him. There were so many problems in our relationship. I was so full of resentment. Like, I really wanted to let him go. But even in that, we were kind of basically living together. So when I went to work, like throughout the week, I think 4 nights I would be at Drake's house, and then the weekend I'd probably be home because I didn't want my dad to catch me for the fact that I was barely ever sleeping at home. And now this was around the times where I was still living with my sister, So things were a bit like rocky between us at those times, but I was still very committed to making the relationship work, and he still showed somewhat commitment to really like kind of being around me, because we were so used to being around each other that it was so weird when we were not. Fine. So hi man, there was this particular point in our relationship where I even remember I used to cry at the office the whole time. I was so stressed. I was going through things. I was going through like this big, I just found out this big thing about me and Drake that, it could have potentially changed our future together. So I was so emotional because I was so young at the time. Me and him are going through problems, and now boom, this thing comes into our life, and now I'm just crying every other day. I'm at the office, I'm crying every other day. I'm calling him like crazy. I'm trying to find out where he is. Now, in the interim of doing that, there was this girl that I befriended from social media. Now, I had always been following her for a really long time. Always thought she was super pretty. There was even a point on Twitter where people were really hyping her up, and everyone was hyping her up, and she was hyping her up. She was being hyped, and I was also part of the hyping her up. Things like that. I was just like, part of it. I was also like saying she's so pretty, and I don't think me hyping her up was ill-willed. It's because if you're beautiful, and that's just what it is, right? So I followed her on her social media accounts. I really enjoyed her content. I had to give it to her back then. I'm not giving her any credit now, but back then I really enjoyed her content, and I think I jumped into the DMs by obviously commenting on her stories. I jumped into the DMs commenting on her stories. It was nothing too major. It was just like, oh, gorgeous. And she'd comment on my stories. And then after that, it kind of just organically just became a thing. So I don't know who reached out to who, or if she asked me for her or my number, or I asked her. I know for a fact I would never shoot a friendship shot with her at that time because I had very bad self-esteem issues. There were certain people I didn't think I could ever be friends with. There were certain people I didn't think I was good enough to be friends with. So I don't actually remember shooting the friendship shot, but I do remember receiving it enthusiastically, right? So I think she reached out to me in the DMs, and she obviously was like, oh man, let me take you to your number, da 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 da. And at that time, you could tell my stories. I was reposting poems, porn. I was reposting, you know, like the sad things. I was reposting RH sin. I was just reposting a lot of painful quotes to definitely tell Drake what one hater. Fine. While all that is happening, then I befriend her. And now at that time, a lot of my friends had kind of taken a step back from me because I was obviously in love with a very, very toxic gent who was obviously manipulating me, and my friends obviously couldn't stand to be around that. And I've said obviously like 16 times now. So let's take a shot for every time I say obviously, gotcha. Then her and I start talking on the Green app. And it's so chill, it's so cool. Like I even remember it was such an organic thing. And then one day I had a breakdown at work. I had a breakdown at work. I went to the car park. I was crying, like my makeup was running. I had just found out this big thing, and now I was like, what the fuck am I going to do now, you know? And obviously I called her because she was like, hey, are you okay, dude? I'm seeing, like, what's going on? And now I obviously vent to her, and now I'm venting to her like, hey, this is going on. I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. And now she's crying with me on the phone because now I'm telling her about, this is what I'm going through, and Drake is cheating on me with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. And now we obviously like have this moment where we start crying on the phone. Like she's also like just so concerned about me, you know. I'm also just like really in the moment. I'm scared and I'm devastated. I even remember because my manager that day told me to leave work, and that was around Boma 1. Like they were just like, you know what, Naledi, you're not in a good space, leave. So I take my stuff, I leave, I go back home. Fine. Then around the time that I obviously was breaking down, it was around the time the ghost account was telling me that this is what Drake was doing. So he was doing all that stuff after this discovery that was obviously going to change our lives. And now I'm sharing that with, for story's sake, I'm going to call this girl. Wow, I didn't even give her a name. Damn, I must really dislike her that much. Nah, not really. I'm over it. For story's sake, I'm going to call her, I don't know, Zambizan. Cruella again. Cruella Deville. I love that name. No, I'm gonna call her Smangazo. Smangazo, because what she did left me shook, surprised, angry, and confused and discombobulated. Okay, so I'm sharing all the stuff with Smangazo. Smangazo is also like telling me, dude, I think you should go. I think you should really like figure out what you're gonna do about the situation. I called my sister, and now my sister's also like, man, bruv, you know? So I go home. I remember I go home, and it was, I think, that weekend, like that day that I went home was leading to a weekend. Because in the weekend, then Drake, I don't know if he went somewhere with his friends, and then he still went and became like a shenanigans, doing to the store too, because I hadn't actually told him already, dude, this was going on. Sharp. So I see more posts of what Drake is doing out, you know, living his life, you know, basically not giving a damn about me. And at that time, he kind of sort of was treating me like someone who hated me, you know? And I couldn't figure out why. I mean, I knew why, but, you know, fine. So Smangazo tells me, you know what, girl, let's actually go blow. No, I think when I did find out, it was a Monday. It was a Monday, I'm lying. It wasn't a Thursday. It was a Monday because Smangazo was like, you know what, girl, let's go to the club tomorrow. I'm like, and I'm generally not someone who clubs, and I also never went out to the club without Drake, because that's one of the things that he really didn't like. He didn't like the idea of me going out to clubs, because high key what was probably going to happen was that I was obviously going to go out with my friends who were going to go out with some guys who were going to buy us alcohol, and that was like a no-no for Drake. Drake did not like that. So I also kind of got into the habit of not really liking to go to clubs because I wanted to avoid the drama in our relationship that was already ensuing. Sharp. No problem. So then she tells me, no, dude, let's go to the club, whatever the case may be. And now her and I have been chatting for like a few weeks. No, not a few weeks. Maybe like a little over a week. Yeah. Yo, guys, all my bad friendships are so short-lived. Now she's telling me, no, yeah, you've got to let him go, dude. He's not good for you. And I'm like, dude, I know he's not good for me, but like, I love him. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to take you to we're going to blow. Yeah. Did I even say the club? She's like, I'm gonna take you to this club. We're gonna blow off some steam. You and I, let's go be baddies. Let's get ready. Let's get cute. I'm like, okay, cool, no problem. Because now also at that time, what was going on? Oh yeah, at that time, my sister and I were not living together. I remember at that time, my sister and I were not living together. So I was living in that big house, one man. And she was like to me, no, it's fine. What we can do is, I'll come and sleep over at your house. So you'll come and then we will go back together. And I was like, I bet, sweet, no problem. Yo, guys, do not befriend people you meet on social media. Please, I'm begging you. Like, just do a background check on them. Do something. Get an affidavit. Go to the police station. Get their ID number and find out if they've got a bad track record. Because one thing I did not do was do a background check on this honey. But I couldn't because I was lonely at that time. I needed the friendship. I needed the support. And also, I didn't know her. So I had no reason to assume that she would, while out the way that she did. Sharp. And now there was no bad evidence to indicate her sharp. Sharp. Okay, fine. Tuesday comes. I go to work. I go to work. I come back from work. And then after that, I go home and I get ready. I do my makeup, things like that. I'm trying to get myself in the zone. My spirits are all the way down, but I'm trying to get myself in the zone. And now around that time, Drake was clubbing heavy. Like, I would hear from other people that Drake was here. He was at Taboo. He was here. He went with this guy. There were these girlies at the table. There were these dollies. He was at Rockets. He was this. He was just that guy. And around the time that all of that was happening, we were basically kind of sort of broken up, but we were still together. Because I remember when I went to another province for a weekend, he was whiling on the same weekend that he was cheating on me. Oh my God. Oh my God. You see, there was another story, and I think I called it Helen of Troy, the face that launched 1,000 ships. This story is concurrently running with that story. Do you understand? Whilst he was cheating on me with Smangazo, he was also upset that I went to another province. And then another guy was trying his luck on me. By the way, there's this girl that I'm loving on YouTube. Her name is Swelihe Nyango. I think I hope I'm not butchering her surname. Swelihe. Oh, she's so pretty. And she always, when she tells stories, she's always flicking her hair. She's looking at herself. She's like, and I'm like, I love you. Okay, anyway, whatever. Fine, Tuesday comes, I get ready, I tell her, okay, cool, let me know when I should leave the house because I had to drive to this club because they lived obviously north and I was literally I'm literally the only human being who lives in the south. I'm literally the only human being out of all my friends who lives in the south, So, fine, I almost said the other friends of mine live in the east, but that's fine, ain't no shade, no hate, no shade. Chat. I go to this club and now, what I know is that Drake was infamous for going to this club because this was the one club that he knew he would never find me at. I was rocking with real ballers. So I was not going to go to that club. That club at that time was popping. I'm not going to lie, it was popping, but it was just not my vibe. It was too dark. It was too steamy. It was too psh. I just didn't like it. I was more of a Rockets. I was more of a very, different clubs to that. The only other club I really enjoyed was Taboo, but that was around the Mahuta times. But he knew for a fact I wouldn't go to that club because in general, he knew that I wouldn't go to clubs. He knew he would never bump into me at clubs. And now he was skimmering this other friend of his who was just making him make such bad decisions and ended up being such a bad friend to him. But anyway, I see collab. It's fine. I drive to this club. I get to the parking lot just a little after 9. So my past 9 is so. And I remember at the time, I was still driving my then car, Mercedes-Benz. It was making me look like a bad bitch. I was just bad bitching everywhere, Driving there, I had a lot of anxiety because I was like, I'm really praying to dear God, I do not bump into Drake, because I still had that guilty factor, oh, he's gonna see me here and think I'm just one of the girls. You are so stupid, but it's fine. I get to the parking lot. Now, the thing about this particular club, the parking lot goes down like this. It goes down like this. So Whichever car comes up must pass and see all the cars that are parked going down. So nakalaki, I get a parking third. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. It's full, but someone just actually by sheer luck happened to, no, I think I get number 2 because it's 1, 2, yeah. I get in the second floor, which just happens to be by the left of the door that goes right to the club, right? So I get there and I start texting Smangazo and I ask her, hey, I'm here, where are you? And Smangazo's like, okay, no, we're on our way there, I'm coming with my friend, and for story's sake, I'm gonna call this friend Msila, because she was following Smangazo around. Smangazo, I wait for Smangazo and Msila in the car. While I'm waiting, you know, I'm on Twitter, I'm just checking things, you know, I'm also going through my ghost account to go see where Drake's friends are, to kind of suss out if they're here at the club and figure out if I want to be here or not. But unfortunately, no one's posted anything. That's fine. While I'm chilling, giving myself a pep talk like Issa Rae on Insecure, that I'ma get in there and I'ma, you know, fuck shit up, I hear Drake's car. And I even know which one it was, the white one. I know it because I used to do the pops and bangs on the car. I hear my blood. Yo. I'm like, oh, get it together. You guys broke up. You deserve to be here. You don't need to be afraid of him. It's coming down. I can hear the car. It's coming down. Fuck. In my mind, I'm thinking, nah. He's probably gonna be with this other best friend of his that he used to club with all the time. So, and they're gonna have bitches in the back because that's what they used to do. Because also the other time I was sleeping at his house and he didn't know that I had the keys to his house. So he came back one time, couple two saying, and then how will I garage Arutopaka? Did he not see my car and reverse and get out? Nah, good times. Ain't no way, boy. So I hear Drake's car come in and now I'm terrified because I'm like, shit. Drake knows my number plate. Drake obviously used to do these weird things like hack my phone and stuff. So he's a Virgo. By naturally, he's trained to like be an investigator by heart and profession, because cheating requires a level of meticulous attention to detail and perfectionism so that you don't fuck up, right? Cool. So Drake drives down and I see his car and I confirm that it's him because I see his number plate. I still know the number plate of all his cars. No. The other one was easy to remember because it wasn't like just a typical number plate. The other one, I do remember it, the blue one. And then this white one, I know it. Like, no, this is Drake. Ne? And funny enough, I've never seen it anyway. So he drives down and I see Khore hits him, and then I quickly do this, ne? Because he's driving down, so now his windows are dark, but mine are not that dark. So even when he's driving, he could potentially see into the window. Like, they are dark, but he'll see if someone's sitting in the car. He just won't see if it's a woman. He'll see it's a woman if there's a wig, but he won't see who it is. So as soon as he drives like this, I do this. I'm like, yo, I'm terrified. Guys, I'm terrified. Yo, it actually goes to show the mental games that this man had on me. I'm terrified. Man. The bitches are there in the back. Fine. I just have to now talk myself into understanding that, you know what? This is what's happening. As I'm still trying to digest what's going on, I get a call from Smangazo. Smangazo is like, hey, we're at the door, you can come up. So I quickly get out of my car, I lock the car, I go straight to the lift, I go to the door so that I don't bump into Drake. Sharp. Get in. And now it was actually, you know what, in hindsight, it was too convenient. It was too convenient how right after Drake drives in, Smangazo tells me she's there, but they had me waiting for 40 minutes in the car. We're on our way, we're around the corner. Whatever, sharp. It just gets worse. Cool, we get inside. Then after that, Smangazo seats us with these other, so we were seated with these other guys, like Niger boys, but they were like nice Niger boys, right? She seats us with them. She seats me with them. So it's Niger boy 1, Niger boy 2, Niger boy 3. And then it's Smangazo, me, and Msila. So it's 6. No, Ibilane, there were 4 guys. There were 4 guys, right? And they were so, oh man, they were so sweet. They didn't try any like funny shit or anything like that. They were sweet, man. Like, because when I sat there, the other one made space for me. The other one asked me if I wanted like a glass of Henny, whatever the case may be. So I sat. As soon as we sat, I were getting comfortable. These are now Smangazo's friends. Ne? Excuse me. We're getting comfortable. Smangazo now starts disappearing. And hey, I should have known from this point that something wasn't right. She disappears, she comes back. I'm sitting with Msila the first time. Second time, she grabs Msila and she's like, okay, just sit here, we're gonna be right back. And I'm like, Haibo, where are you guys going? Like, she's like, no, we're gonna be right back, we're coming back. And I'm like, no, can I please leave with you guys? Because now I don't know who these guys are. Now I'm sitting Mokiri Wani, you know? They're like, no, just sit here, we'll be right back. Now, these guys were not gonna order champagne or anything like that. I don't think they were moving like that. Or they probably were, I don't know, but I wasn't interested in finding out. Sharp, I'm sitting there, I'm drinking my Henny, I'm minding my business. 15-20 minutes later, after sitting by myself and texting, talking to these nice guys, obviously trying to play it cool because now I'm also scared. What if they make me pay for this Hennessy? I don't know what's going on. About 15 minutes later, Smangazo comes back with Msila holding a bottle of champagne. Ne? Now, let's analyze. Ne? Khonale vev brutu, khonale mum brutu, khonale mum demiseke, khonale nekha, khonale mowe brutu, khonale ngata. But very rare do people buy the mowe rosé. Ne? And in a light, now the club was full, but the club was not that full of niggas who were buying champagnes. They were buying body neck, taman, body ing. And now, I think one of the reasons why I remember everything so vividly is because I was so anxious about seeing Drake that I actually didn't drink that much. And also, I was like a stranger danger kind of girl. I did not like drinking alcohol by niggas that I didn't know that well because now I drove there. You know, I'm scared. I'm thinking of a lot of things right now. I know it's safe to actually leave your car in that parking lot, but I was not someone who was comfortable with doing those things. So I initially thought either one or two things is going to happen. I'm either going to leave my car there, I'm going to call someone to pick me up and come Uber me and come drive my car back home with me, right? Sharp, because I knew a lot of people that lived in the north, so it was quite easy actually. Sharp. So, Hennessy, Haibo, tugu. 30 minutes later, Msila and Smangazo come back holding a closed bottle of Moët Rosé. And I remember this because I didn't like it. When it glowed up, it made a very golden color like the demisec. I remember this because this is when my life started crumbling. Now I know Drake's in the club, but I don't know where. I'm not even thinking, she could have potentially went to Drake at all. Nothing. She comes back with the bottle. She's like, yeah, here's your bottle. I'm like, why? Why are you giving it to me? She's like, yeah, no, it's yours. Drink it, it's yours. And I'm like, what are you talking? Why is it mine? She's like, no, open it and drink it out of the bottle. This bottle is yours. Then she puts it in my hand. So I take it. And I'm so confused because these guys are probably looking at us and saying, what the fuck is going on? Shortly after that, she then tells us we can move and go to another table where there's also different types of champagne, but now there's champagne yadi nectar. I say and aling rosé ya light. And I remember that light because this light confirms everything that could have potentially shattered my spirit that night. She takes it, she's like, open it and drink it. It's yours. You can even drink it like I'm low. You don't even need a glass. Kila, how? So now I'm just like, okay, but like, can we get glasses so we can share? So they get glasses. We go to that other table with the other niggas who then get glasses. Now those were a couple of other bowlers who are like South African gents. And now we're sitting with them. We're feeling a lot more at ease because there's other girls. It's very group vibe. So no one is singling the other person out. They're on a 2x2. So now I'm calming down. Now I've got this bottle in my hand. I'm drinking out the mouth. After pouring for them, now I'm drinking like this because there's no other glass. Sharp. So Naledi M official. I almost said Naledi my official. Naledi M official decides to go to the bathroom because she needs to pee and because she's anxious and because she's wondering why she hasn't seen the ex that she loves so dearly but can't stand in the club. On my way to the toilet, I could have just literally fallen to my knees at that club and cradled myself and did this. Go toilets at this particular club. There's a booth right here, enabling the rest of the club. Now the club extends into that side, but then right next to the door of the stairs that go up, there's a bathroom here, but there's a booth right here. Walking to that booth, I see a fat head that I realize, and this head is from some gent that obviously is friends with Drake from KZN. And I think I mentioned him when I told the catfish story of the guy who tried to catfish me with the traction of cars. I see his head, because his head can be seen in many places, in many spaces. I see his head. As I'm still looking at him leaning down, talking to this hand, doing this, I look at the champagne bottles. Is it not the champagne that I'm drinking specifically? There's probably like 5 bottles at the table. I'm holding the 6th like this. So I do a double take. Now I'm because now I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? I do a double take because I'm holding this bottle and I'm looking at that booth. It's full of gents, it's full of girls. My boyfriend slash ex slash whatever the fuck he is to me is sitting, cuddling. No, shame. At that point he wasn't cuddling. He was standing, holding a glass, drinking the bottle that I had in my hand. Him and I did a double take like this. I don't even remember if he saw me. I know he saw me because I stood there for like 20 seconds just trying to make like okay. Go to the toilet, I pee, and now I'm because I know exactly what was going on here. Then you know what I did? I was like, let me just make sure I walk around the club. I walk around. So because now we can both see what's going on. I'm no longer the boo-boo, the food. I can see what's going on. Smangazo got this bottle from Drake's table and gave it to me. Now my blood is cold. Now I'm pissed. I pass by Drake's table. I go around the club like this. I scout everyone's table. And you know what? By the grace of God, only 2 tables that night were drinking rosé. It was Drake's table and it was some other table with gents and hands, but they were drinking different types of champagnes like Riches, Verves, this, that, so there was no way she was gonna get that bottle there because that table was full of honeys, baddies. She was not gonna get that bottle over there. There was no way. Sorry guys, I had to go get a refill. I'm the stupid one. Like, I am stupid, you know? Now I'm angry. Now I go back to the table where Smangazo and Nsila are sitting home night. I'm like, bruh, where'd you get this bottle? And like casually, like, by the way, where'd you get this bottle? It's like, oh no, some guy gave it to me. I'm like, who? Where in the club? He's like, no, man, I can't even remember. I'm so drunk. And you know what? It's funny because she was probably telling the truth about her being drunk, but now I was side-eyeing her because I was like, bitch, I know you ain't that motherfucking drunk. I know for a fact you ain't that motherfucking drunk. It gets worse, sir. It gets worse, sir. This is, I think it was after this where I knew, like, nothing, no bone in my body will ever bring me to forgive this hand. Ever. You dead to me. Forever. Sharp. Okay, fine. Hi. I drink that bottle. Right after there, then I think the other niggas that was chilling with the South African gents, they obviously bought more Bagatella champagne. And then we met up with these 2 gents, ne? Whom I know through social media, and like I know them personally because obviously I used to go out a lot with Drake, so they were one of those people who kind of like worked in the club and stuff, but they were also like mates of mine, sharp. So now it's time to leave. Give my 4:30 Hussein. Ne? So now I've been drinking. Smangazo has been drinking. Limsila's been drinking. So now it's time to leave. When it's time to leave, for story's sake, I'm gonna call these guys. I'm gonna call one of them Instigator, and I'm gonna call the other one Hector. As in like, no, I'm gonna call the other one Hercules because he really saved the day. That guy saved the day, and it's just so unfortunate because I really like ended up liking him afterwards. But then it was very tricky because he was also he was moving mad. Cool. We all decide to leave, and then Instigator is like, no guys, let's go to Andicho's and grab some food, whatever. So Hercules and Instigator are driving a big car, like they're driving a fucking car, right? And I'm driving my car. So now I think that night Instigator jumped in with me and drove me, and then Hercules, no, I think, was it Hercules who drove my car or was it Instigator? I don't remember, but somebody drove my car. Sharp. We go to the Andicho's, ne? We go to the Andicho's, guys. Give me my past 4 was saying, like, we left like club time, so you know. But that night I wasn't drunk because 1, I knew I had saw Drake. 2, I had never been so humiliated, and 3, I was really starting to question, like, who is this girl and what is her intention, and why couldn't she tell me the truth that she got this bottle from Drake's table? And at that time I'm still very much unsure because I can't completely cancel them out. She's pretty. She can get a bottle from anyone. But now the thing that was really scaring me was, how could you do that to me? We're supposed to be mates. You know what I mean? Even that night, there was this other celebrity who was performing that night. That night, there was this other celebrity that her and him were just vibing a bit too much, but the celebrity wasn't feeling him in return. But that's actually how we ended up at Onyx, because that particular celebrity, she and him were having a thing. And now when we got there, we sat with the other niggas that she knows, but I think she, honestly, we had come for that gent. And that gent was just like, my space, whatever, cool. So we get to Andicho's. It's like Boma past 4. So Smangazo and Msila stay in the car. Me, Instigator, and Hercules walk inside Andicho's. Now we're going to order food, you know. And now while we're standing there, I'm telling Hercules, I'm like, hey, something isn't right here, Hercules, you know, like, I thought I saw Drake, and then Hercules like, yeah, no, but he was there. Hercules and Instigator are like, nah, yo, but he was there. Did you not see him? I'm like, hey, and by the way, I was drinking champagne. So what I'm explaining that story, Smangazo comes out of the fucking car, walks into the Andicho's. I remember because it was only the 5 of us at that time. Nobody else was there at that restaurant. Nobody else was there at that Andicho's. She comes out, she's sloshed, pissed, drunk, pissed. She comes out, she walks, and she wasn't wearing her heels because I think she took them off in the fucking car. And she's like, yeah, guys, there's this guy called Drake who keeps DMing me saying I should come to his house. And then I just saw Hercules' eyes do this. They bulge. She comes in, guys. I'm gonna repeat it. Yeah, this guy, Drake, is asking me to come to his house right now. Now, as far as I'm concerned, Smangazo and Instigator have history. Not too much, not anything that I would say is history like me and Drake, but it's kind of like a vibing situation which was then left in the air. But you know, he's kind of always there to save the day, for her, right? So when I was asking him before she came out the car, he was also like, ah man, it's a thing, like we really feeling each other, but you know, she's like, he said the P word, but like, I think he was just being a nigga, obviously, right? Trying to excuse the fact that maybe she wasn't interested in him in that manner. But I know that they had something going on because obviously niggas talk more than bitches these days. He showed us the receipts, me and Hercules confirmed it, and at that time, Instigator and Hercules were staying together in this big house. So she walks in, she says what she says, Hercules' eyes bulge. Instigator's like, wait, what are you saying, dude? And she's like, yeah, no, Drake is come to his house. Like she's two-stepping, at the time. She's two-stepping, she's not standing straight, but now her phone is unlocked and it's in her hand. Yo, guys. No. Then she walks back to the car. No, instigator's like, I think you should go back to the car. She walks back to the car. Another day, guys, you could see the steam come off my hands because she knows who Drake is. I know that she knows who Drake is. And now she's pissed drunk, coming to everybody, telling us, me included, your mates, your friend, that Drake is texting you, asking you to come to his house. We go back to the fucking car, we've got the pieces. And now we're all standing there and I'm asking her, I'm like, dude, Smangazo, why are you and Drake DMing each other? It's like, yo, no. I'm like, why are you and Drake DMing each other? So while she's talking, her phone is in her hand like this. I grab the phone because me, that time, I was alert. I grab the phone, I go through her DMs. And now the last message I see came from her to him. Ne? That's the last one I see, so I get pissed through the phone. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get in this fucking car and it's going to be a fucking mess. Because now Wang Bonsa, you are DMing Drake. You and Drake have been DMing each other this whole time. Now the whole story about the bottle, about her being so concerned, about her being my friend, comes into fucking full circle. Because I was like, why? Damn. I just remember my head spinning, and I remember people's voices kind of draining out, and I remember Hercules just kind of holding me like this and saying, Naledi, no! Like, that's all I remember. Like, after that moment, I could put a phone call. Obviously, nothing happened. There was no like fight or anything like that because Hercules had held me. But after that, imagine a moment where you hear this whizzing sound like zee, and everything just goes into slow-mo, and you feel like you're dizzy, and you feel like you're gonna fall, and you're in disbelief. You can't believe what's going on. And now I'm so angry, and I think because the anger had been like a rising thing, to the right moment when we all standing there, and I took the phone and I went to her DMs, and he was the last DM, Vele. He did say, no, just in her defense, Drake did say that he must come to her place. But before that, they were obviously communicating. It's just that after that, I just couldn't see anything. I don't even remember what response she said, but I know she was the last person to text to him after he said come to my house, because I needed to know if she was telling the truth. But I also needed to know, what did you say? You know what I mean? I just remember spinning. I just remember like that TV aerial sound, that after that, it was like hazy. Still remember everything, but it was hazy. Hercules gets in the fucking car. He takes Msila and Smangazo back to their place. And then I stay there with Instigator. And I'm crying. I'm falling down in the parking lot on my knees. Like literally when you guys said I just fell to my knees in the parking lot, that was motherfucking me. I fell to my knees in the parking lot. I'm crying, I'm screaming, I'm in, even now, I'm even getting goosebumps just remembering that moment of utter humiliation. The kind of humiliation, you know, if just even thinking about telling the story and remembering that moment still brings tears to my eyes, because I had never felt so, I'd never been done that dirty. You know, I've been done dirty in so many ways, but for the real vermin to come into my life and poison the last bit of hope I had left when it came to my self-esteem, when it came to my relationship, when it came to how torn I was, for her to do that to me like there was nothing. Yo guys, ngakipa ihilezwa, ngakipa, ngakhala, ngaskrima, ngabambi wiki, ngati. And then Instigator sat me down and then was like blunt, honest on what Drake had been doing, who he had been doing with it, what he's doing, how he's getting his money. Some of the stories that he heard were a bit far-fetched. Like it wasn't real, and I obviously knew that because I knew the personal things that Drake was doing, but now I couldn't confirm or deny because that would mean having to expose Drake's like personal information and like personal kind of dealings, doings, so some of the stories I was just agreeing, even though I know for a fact that Drake wouldn't do this because I actually lived with him and I know how he is about certain things. But everything else that he said was definitely true to form. Like it was like, that is definitely Drake. I wouldn't know Drake to be any other way. So he tells me that Drake has been cheating on me for a while. He lists all the girls. He lists all the girls he's seen Drake in the club with. And now 80% of the girls that he's listed are girls that we fought about. So he wasn't far off the grid. And then after that, he was like, Naledi, listen, can I just drive you back to the house where we are all at? And then in the morning when you feel better, you can drive home, because obviously also I don't want you to drive in this state. You're also going to be inebriated. You're going to be stopped by cops, whatever the case may be, this and the third. And I was just shaken. Like I felt like I just heard like someone had died. I was just so, it was bad. Cool, we go back to that house. I see Smangazo again and the anger resurfaces. You know, it resurfaces. So then eventually we have this big fight, her and I, where I'm asking like, how could you do this to me? Where did you get that bottle? What happened? It's like, no, I told you so many times to leave that nigga, and I'm like, you're telling me to leave this nigga, but you're trying to fuck this nigga. You know what I'm trying to say? It's like, yo, he's been asking me to go out to lunch. He's been like asking me out for so many weeks now. He's been up in my DMs. Don't you think if I wanted that nigga, I would not even try to befriend you? I even know that he lives in this place, and I know that he's got a place like this. He's always calling me. He's always lying on my phone. So now she moved from being like a friend to being like a frenemy, you know, where she was like throwing jabs at me. And now the problem is, now the danger is those jabs are accurate AF, but now you're literally hurting me and saying, Korea, if I wanted your man, I would be with him, but now I'm here with you. So now I'm asking questions. I'm like, dude, but why was Santreta? If really this was the case, why Santreta? And then it was so heated to a point where she was throwing personal jabs about things that she knew about him, of which you can only know that stuff if you talk to a person. You're not going to hear that stuff over the streets. Obviously confirming the fact that her and him had spoken. There were obviously conversations about meeting up, whatever the case may be. Her side of the story. There were conversations about meeting up, and I lost it. I was just like, you know what? Then Hercules held me, like he put me in like a, what's that thing where they put you in and your hands are like this and you just can't get anywhere, like you just can't do anything because you're just fighting for your life. He put me in that. They took her and locked her in a room, and they locked me in a room, and I think I spoke to Hercules for about 3 hours till the sun came. No, it wasn't even 3 hours. It was about an hour and a half, and the sun came up. And she was in the other room with Instigator, where I think Instigator was telling her like, dude, what you did was fucked up. You know what I mean? And Hercules was just telling me like, dude, one of the things that he was saying is like, why would you befriend Smangazo, dude? Like, she's infamous for these things. And I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, she's infamous for doing these things to her mates. Like, and I'm like, tell me you motherfucking lie. I'm like, so anyway, after that I calmed down. I then woke up at around 7, and that was the most painful drive home. I think I cried for 2 days. I didn't go anywhere for a week. I think I was so depressed. I was so heartbroken. Fine. Then after that, I text Drake. I'm like, him and I don't know what happens. We get to a point where he's like, he wants to talk to me, ne? Where we were just like deciding, like, are we saving this or are we done? Because I just can't do this anymore. Like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know how to move, you know? And then we meet up at the most mutual place possible, a park, to talk about our feelings and to talk about the mental spaces we've been in. Now, the one thing about Drake that I know personally is the headspace that he was in at that time was not the Drake that I knew and had fallen in love with. So I kind of made excuses for his bad behavior, but I knew what it was centered around. I knew why he was making those bad decisions. I knew why he was hurting me the way that it was. One, because he knew that I was never going to give up on him. But two, because he was in such a bad place. And I don't think he could get himself out, because he had no one to really talk to except me. And now, if I was the one person that he could confide in, and now I'm also angry at him, I'm resentful, I'm hating on him, the next best thing that comes into the picture that is loving and showing him that love and affection, he was not going to hesitate. You know what I mean? And that might sound like it's an excuse or whatever the case may be, but looking back at the toxic person that I was in that relationship towards the end, I'm not surprised that that happened the way that it did. Because there are no shame. Bending I'm feeling oko. Bending I'm feeling. We go to a park. We decide to talk, and now I want to hear his side of the story. Like, why would you do this to me? Why would you let me be friends with this girl when you knew that you were asking her out? You could have given me a heads up. You could have said she was a bad person. You could have done anything. Dog, you could have just stopped messing with her when you found out that her and I were friends. He's like, okay, Naledi, tijele alomngani wakho. He's like, Naledi, this girl hit on me a few weeks ago when we went to Rockets. We got to Rockets, and at that night, I'll tell you, I was traveling with this particular girl that he was cheating on me with, but at least he was honest enough to tell me the motherfucking truth. He's like, Naledi, that night, bengbambile ntombazane so, and then ntombazane uyazi because of so. That night, mangena, I went there, I had a table reserved, I was with this particular girl, we were all hanging out, and then she was there with these other niggas that I know obviously. She was there with them niggas, and then after that, I was here with this particular girl, and I was buying her alcohol, and everything was fine, and everything was good, and she kept making moves on me, of which this girl, the side chick, the main side chick, not the main, but one of the side chicks who was kind of main, was complaining about the fact that Smangazo was making moves on Drake. I'm like, what? He's like, yes, sir. Lady, I didn't want this hand because I already knew her track record, but that particular night, she was so on my dick that I was like, this is an opportunity to smash. Like, and you know, I'm listening to this going, but deep down in my spirit, I'm like, I am dating the devil's, like, firstborn son. Like, what? He's telling me the truth. He's even showing me screenshots. He's showing me everything. He's like, Naledi, I was still messing with her, and I was fine with her. But then she came, and she was making moves on me in front of her. And now I even had to tone her down a little bit. But then she went and she DM'd me the next day. So I DM'd her back. We DM'd each other. She gave me her number. We started WhatsApping. We called each other. She then asked me, he even said, he was like, I promised her a lunch date. But then I never went through with it because when I asked the guys how she moves, they were like, nah. They were like, don't go there. They were like, no, not in your wildest dreams. And then after that, the last message that she had said to him was like, you promised you were going to take me out to lunch. He shows me everything. He shows me the screen grabs, he shows me the WhatsApp conversations. He's like, at some point, I even stopped speaking to this honey because she was bothering me. Now I'm sitting there, egg to my face, but I'm still so pissed off. Because now the real kind of the full circle truth story comes out. Well, this is what this hun was doing, and this is how she was moving. She befriended me to get closer to this guy, and then I'm like, okay, let's talk about the bottle situation at that club. What happened there? He's like, no. So what had happened was, she saw on my stories, and I had informed her that I'm going to the club that night, but that night, being hambano, being side cheek. And now she came to the table that night. Let me explain to y'all. She came to the table that night, and then he was pissed off because he was like, no, you're doing this thing that you did at the other place at Rockets, and I'm not appreciating this. And then she was like, no. She said something like, no, I'm here with your girlfriend. You mean no girlfriend? As Smangazo tells him, I'm here with your girlfriend. And then after that, I think he obviously asked her, like, okay, you're here with my girlfriend, what's going on? He's like, yeah, no, I think she asked him for something to drink, whatever, but he gave her the bottle, and hence why she gave it to me closed. Hence why she was so adamant, I open it, I drink it out the bottle, whatever the case may be, because he probably had told her to give it to me. Because I can't believe that I still thought that was a form of love in some very skewed way. He was like, okay, where's she sitting? Who's she with? Give her this bottle. That's why when he saw me, he didn't double take or do any shady shit, even though he was bambarile. He didn't double take because he knew that he had instructed her to give me that bottle. Because he's like, yeah, I'm the one who told her to give it to you. After she told me she's here with you. I'm like, and that's pretty much what happened. And that is why me and Smangazo were never friends ever again. And then he was also like, that night she was trying to steal the bottle at the table. He's like, no. She came to the table trying to take the bottle, and I stopped her. And I was like, why are you taking the bottle? It's like, no, because I'm sitting with your girlfriend. And then he was like, you sitting with Naledi? Okay. So he was like, I was already pissed off at the fact that she was trying to steal the bottle. And now all his friends now corroborate that story, that this hand came, tried to take the bottle and leave. And then we stopped her because everybody had bamba that night. So obviously the girls were gonna go, why? Who's this hand stealing the bottles? But essentially, that's what happened. And then I cut her off for good. I think for a long time, I was like, maybe she'll actually apologize for how she handled the situation. Then I was in the future like a year later, and I'm like, how did you do that? He's like, yeah, no. He wanted me. What was I supposed to do? And like, there was no remorse from her end. As a matter of fact, she even went as far as dogging my career on Samia. Your career is so lame, so whack. Nah, but she wasn't capping though. At the time my career was whack. She's like, nah, look at me and look at you. And I was like, damn. Okay, sis. Like, I genuinely even remember like approaching her thinking, well, I hope to some degree there's some remorse for like how she did me dirty. Nope, nothing. And therefore, that is the end of the story. And therefore, I'm never making friends again. I'm good, I'm great. The girlies are up, forever gonna be up, you know what I'm saying? But that's pretty much what happened, guys. That is the story of how this girl really betrayed me and betrayed my trust, and like it took advantage of my situation, took advantage of my emotions. It was the ghettoest thing I had ever been through, but it was definitely eye-opening to how Joburg people operate. Because the thing is, I grew up in Johannesburg, I lived in Johannesburg, but I've never been in an environment where people would do that to each other for, you know, men, money, things like that. I'd never been in that setup, you know. And when I met Drake, he was still like, you know, on the up and up, doing his own thing. Like, we had genuinely like just found each other at a place where no one was searching for money. He wasn't throwing money in my face, nothing of that nature. So by the time they all started knowing who Drake was, he was this popular rich nigga who was, you know, dating me, but obviously cheating on me with the entire multiverse, you know. Like, he could have been cheating on me with Marvel characters. I wouldn't even know the damn thing. But anyway, that is the story. That is essentially how this girl did me dirty. I'm definitely so glad I got this off my chest. Out to sharp. But anyway, guys, comment, like, and subscribe if you want. If comment, like, and subscribe. That is the end of the story. I will see you guys in the other story time that I have to tell, because I've got 2 story times that I need to tell right now. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys later.